Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. So weekly thing lately around here, and we're on February 10th, 2023, and usually like around Valentine's Day, there's a bunch of stuff that comes out, but this year I think it was a little bit light. So I'm going to go through what actually did come out this week. There are things, and then I think that there's so much being announced on the horizon that I'll get into a little bit of that later in this video. And again, this will probably be a slightly shorter video. Let me begin by mentioning a record that it came out several months ago, and it didn't make my list of 2022 because I hadn't heard it. I'm kind of one of those averse, I'm sort of averse to streaming culture. I'm like a little bit more of a relic, I suppose, that way. But I like hearing records when they're on vinyl or even CD physically, and that's just my thing. So a record that I finally did get around to hearing, because I didn't actually get the CD when it came out, was Wilco, Cruel Country. And I feel like I need to mention this for a couple of reasons. One, I've been sort of a kind of a passive Wilco fan. I like them. I've never really been in love. I read Jeff Tweedy's last book and I thought it was great. And his last couple solo records were good, sort of mellow. And this kind of has a little bit of that mellowness carried over, but it's not as angular sounding as, like, say, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot or something like that. But what a great album this is. As speaking as somebody who grew up in the heartland and the plains, I kind of relate to a lot of the lyrics that are in these songs, and at times they're very personal and they're very direct, but I think the musicianship and the guitar playing on this album is quite beautiful, and even the work in the keyboards and the arrangements are just great. And there's a lot of stuff that's sort of I guess sort of political in a way, but it's more sort of about like the sad state of affairs for the cruel country that we live in. And the first two songs, I Am My Mother and Cruel Country, kind of get those points across. But a lot of stuff about like the COVID situation too, without being direct about it, more sort of about human connection, I think. And the song Tired of Taking It Out on You particularly is quite good. So if you have not heard this album, get a listen to it. We only have a few copies of the color vinyl left, and I saw that they had briefly some black vinyl in, and then those went away, and then the color ones came back, but they're almost gone too. And the CD has been withdrawn because it was a record store day item last year. So it came out quite early back in May when the album was premiered. And they have not manufactured a official CD for that other than the record store day one. So, but you may have to stream it. I don't know. Another album that I sort of want, and this is a much older record, but I showed this earlier in the fall. This was kind of interesting to me, was the Police had reissued Ghost in the Machine, and apparently they're going through some sort of more of an active reissue campaign, and this was released on picture disc, which, sometimes you say, oh, do they sound that good? Most of the newer picture discs sound pretty good, and I have not heard any complaints about this. But the thing that's cool about this is not just the fact that it's on a picture disc. If many of you don't know, this actually features a different track list running order than the original album did. So if you look at your original album of this, it starts with Spirits in the Material World, followed by Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic and Invisible Sun. And Demolition Man is the last song on side A. Well, this version starts with Invisible Sun, Then Demolition Man is second. Secret Journey, Darkness, Spirits in the Material World is the fifth song, followed by Too Much Information and Omega Man. This actually features three songs, I believe, that were not on the original album. I Burn For You, Once Upon a Daydream, and Shambell. A couple of them were B-sides. But this was apparently the original running order that they wanted this album to be. And people at the record company and management, whoever, said, no, it should be this other way. So it was sort of released in a way kind of against what their intention was from what I've been hearing about this. So, yeah, you might want to check this out. I don't know how many of these are still around, but it's sort of a collector's piece. And it probably gives a completely different feel to the album in the running order that it's in, and that kind of goes to the heart of what makes albums great and how they're sort of stories that are organized in different arrangements as opposed to just getting your a la carte song by song by song by song as a like a hodgepodge of single playlists on the internet. So check that out. All right, so new releases this week. Let me get to some of that stuff. Rolling Stones Grr Live. So Grr was a compilation that came out, like 10 years ago? And this was a special show that they did in Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center. Features guest spots. I'm sorry, this is yeah, they were there for the final four shows. So it features guest spots from the Black Keys, Gary Clark Jr., Lady Gaga, John Mayer, Bruce Springsteen, and Mick Taylor. So they all kind of show up on different versions of songs on this. And this is the 3 LP edition, I believe. Runs about $70, but yeah. So there's that. And that's also available on CD and Blu-ray configurations if you want the video components of that. The big, probably new pop release of the week is Paramore, called This Is Why. It's been a while since they had a record because Haley was doing solo records. This is the clear vinyl indie edition. It looks like 10 new songs. So Paramore out today, or yeah, today, tomorrow. Post Malone, it's his new record. This is I don't know what the name of this is. 12 Karat Toothache. That's right, I did look this up and I thought, well, that's kind of an interesting title for the record. You know, Post Malone has shown that he kind of does a few different genres okay. Well, I was impressed sort of with his sort of rockier stuff when I saw him doing it. I don't know specifically what this album sounds like, so I will be the person to tell you that. But I will say that there are a lot of guest features on this. You've got Doja Cat, Fleet Foxes, Kid Laroi, The Weeknd. So it's kind of a mixed bag of contributors. So you might want to check that out if you're a Post Malone fan. New Yo La Tengo. It's been a little while for them. I don't know, a few years, couple years. This Stupid World. Great name for an album. These indie rock people have been around for a long time. This is spread across 2 records, 3 sides. So again, you're gonna have a fourth side that's somehow like an etching of some sort or something like that. New Yo La Tengo. New Tennis record, married couple from Colorado, I believe. I've liked a lot of their records. I think they're really good. They're sort of I don't know, I wouldn't really put them necessarily in like, they're not as dreamy as like Beach House. Probably more like Best Coast or something like that. They're kind of, they can get a little jangly and a little more rock. The single I heard was fairly kind of poppy though, like synth pop, but not like overly compressed, like, you know, it's not like Charlie XCX or something like that. It's just sort of like tuneful melodic pop. She's got a really pretty kind of sort of a soprano voice. Anyway, I'm so like ambiguous about it. Sorry, but Tennis is great. They've had quite a few albums at this point. Now I'm getting into reissues here. So Avenged Sevenfold, they released a couple of albums this week on colored vinyl. The one I've got here to show is City of Evil on translucent red. I have an original copy of this on colored vinyl in a bin over nearby for like, I don't know, 4 times as much. So that'll probably diminish the value of the original because I think they were very hard to get. But this is probably what's considered one of their best albums anyway. So that is back out. I don't know if I can show this or not. Revolting Cocks. Big Sexy Land. So this record came out in the mid-'80s. And this is a red marble vinyl, limited edition, double vinyl. This was kind of a fun record when it came out. I say fun in the way that, like, sort of twisted fun. It was a lot of stuff about what was politically going on in the country at the time, and a lot of it is still going on in the world. There's stuff very political, very environmental conscious, things about war, things about America being too big for its britches, you know, stuff like that. But Revolting Cocks featured Luke Van Acker, Richard 23, who was a member of Front 242, and obviously Al Jorgensen of Ministry. And this album, I remember playing it a lot back in the day, because I was sort of a goth industrial kid for a while. And aren't we all? But anyway, so a very interesting record. Lot of kind of heavy use of synth and keyboard and stuff that sort of presaged like Nine Inch Nails and things like that. Sleep. Dope Smoker. This is probably Sleep's most, I hesitate to say, most iconic record. And they only have a handful of albums, really, considering how long they've been around. But this is really like 2 long tracks, and Dope Smoker itself is an hour long, and then Hot Lava Man is 8 minutes here at the end. But 3 guys. I don't really want to describe this because I don't want to come under fire for saying the wrong thing about, you know, how it fits into the rock genres. But I will say that the cool thing about this edition is it was pressed at Third Man. So it's supposed to sound great. Pretty much everything that comes out of Third Man, Jack White's label, sounds great. All right, Mogwai Young Team, Mogwai Young Team reissue. This has been very difficult to find for a while, and they didn't make very many of these, so I'm sorry if you miss out, and maybe they'll make more. I don't know. This is on double sky blue vinyl, and they're also another album of theirs. I want to say it's Come On something. Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. That one also saw a reissue. Gary Newman's Tubeway Army. So this is the first Tubeway Army album, 1978 debut. I think it's on black vinyl. It does not say, but you can see young Gary there. He's still out there making music, and well, sounds very kind of Nine Inch Nails inspired now. But this features Friends and Every Day I Die, Are You Real? It's kind of post-punk with a synth kind of edge. This is before he did Cars. Let's see if I can see this right. Simonde? I think that's how you say this. I forget. This is remastered at Abbey Road Studios, translucent orange crush vinyl. An unforgettable mix of Afro, reggae, jazz, and funk, their debut album. This is sort of a highly sought after record, and you know, it's nice that they finally did some proper reissues of this again. This is on, is it Partisan? I'm trying to remember what label put this out. Um, yeah, so get your Simande while you can, if you want a good sounding copy of that record. I get requests, so AJR, the Click Deluxe. This is one of their more sort of well-known albums. 2018 is when that originally came out. So if you got some AJR fans out there. Oh, Ryuichi Sakamoto, the soundtrack for Exception. This is a Netflix series. Sakamoto was a member of Yellow Magic Orchestra and has done extensive solo work, jazz, ambient, new age, a bunch of stuff with David Sylvian of Japan off and on. Yellow Magic Orchestra member Yukihiro Takahashi recently passed away. Sakamoto himself has been fighting cancer for many, many years. Also an actor, was in, oh gosh, it wasn't Empire of the Sun. Last Emperor, I believe. Yeah. So, interesting Renaissance man and an incredible pianist and keyboardist. So that's probably quite good. I don't know the show, so I'll put that out there. Pierce the Veil. This is their new record, The Jaws of Life. Limited edition Dreamsicle vinyl. So I do get requests for Pierce the Veil. And then there's a reissue also from them, Collide with the Sky. And this record is on Aqua Vinyl, indie store only, features the song King for a Day. Originally came out in 2012. So that'll be available for a little while. Gil Scott-Heron on the jazz tip, Small Talk at 125th and Lenox. Sort of iconic, and this record is hard to find in good condition. It usually is sort of been beat a lot and played a lot. He was a poet, street poet, jazz musician. Really, there was no jazz to speak of this week other than that I came across, which is sort of odd. Next week, there's a Jackie McLean and a Horace Parlan that are Blue Note reissues from the classic series. And there's also an Ahmad Jamal in the Verve by Request series. So there'll be more jazz coming around the corner. It sort of took a little break this week. There's a new Ghost 7-inch reissue of Kiss the Go-Goat. Includes Mary on a Cross. So there's that. 7 inches of Satanic Panic. Well, you understand. And I also wanted to show Thin Lizzy, the box set, CD, Live and Dangerous. Thin Lizzy has had an amazing resurgence from fans who, like, they just can't get enough of these guys. And Phil Lynott was a pretty amazing, I use amazing a lot, amazing guitarist. This is an 8 CD box set. And basically, Live and Dangerous was a popular live record from them. And this features the master tapes from all 8 shows that were then pulled to make that album. So the album was made up of several different performances over those 8 shows. I'm sort of reminded of live records like the David Bowie David Live that he did in the Tower Theater in Upper Darby in 1974, I believe, and how that album was sort of, they didn't like the way the bass sounded on that, so they took the tapes back to the studio and overdubbed all of the bass parts. So it's really not technically all live. And so Thin Lizzy, I don't know what sort of tinkering went on with the tracks, but we do know that those came from different shows. So technically it's not one live concert. I think Duran Duran's Arena was that way too. There are probably several albums that way. And I just want to mention this one more time as The Cure's Wish. This is on double black vinyl, so if you didn't get the picture disc, or you did and you want a really good sounding version of it, I mean, the picture disc sounded good, but this is supposedly sounds great. It's the Rhino Start Your Ear Off Right campaign. I would grab this while I can because I don't know. If I were you, I don't know how long this is going to be around, and this is a really great album. They've been playing a lot of shows recently, mostly around Europe, and they were playing a few new songs. I counted 4, and they were all of like disintegration level. There was one song in particular that Robert wrote for his brother who passed away that was quite haunting, and I think there's a song called End Song that is maybe about 10 minutes long that has they all have very long introductions, but there's some really heartbreaking performances of that you can tell, like, Robert's not young, and he's sort of looking down he's always been looking towards the end of his life. What am I saying? It's The Cure, but it's becoming more weighty, I think, with this material. So hopefully that album will get out soon. There were, I was going to mention a bunch of new releases coming out, so hopefully we get a Cure announcement sometime in the near future. Another one that I've mentioned that's coming in late March, I think they said March 17th, but I don't know, the date of the album might change, was Depeche Mode's new record, and they're premiering the new single Ghosts Again in the next 24 hours or so, and I heard a clip of it and it sounded amazing. Again, I'm using that word. It's in a major key, which is sort of interesting because they're sort of they've been pretty minor key centric for a long time now. So and I don't know if that's some sort of reaction to Andy Fletcher's passing, or if the song was probably already written and done at that point. But it's a very good song, so be looking for that if you haven't heard it. You know, I've sort of mentioned around that same period, U2 Songs of Surrenders coming out, where they redo a lot of their songs. I did hear 1 or 2 of them, and my reaction to that was slightly different than my reaction to the Depeche Mode. But I'll leave that up for you to decide. De La Soul, we're finally getting March 3rd. The reissue of 3 Feet High and Rising, and that's going to be a pretty big deal. I think they will come on different color vinyls, so you can have choice of yellow or magenta. There might even be 3. There's also cassettes coming out in different colors, so if you're a cassette collector, and then CD. And then the other piece of information that I learned the other day is that their second album, De La Soul Is Dead, is also being reissued April 14th. So not long after, maybe another 5-6 weeks, you'll be able to get that one as well. Also, they've been premiering songs from Peter Gabriel. So far, Panopticon and The Court have come out. These are very interesting songs. They are more retro than I would have expected in the way that they sound like something from the Melt album. They don't really sound like material from So or something more commercial necessarily. They have a slightly more angular sound to them, and he's been releasing them in YouTube stream type stuff. Every time there's a full moon, there's supposedly going to be another song. So I don't know how many songs are on this album, but it could be 2 more years before it comes out. If it's like his other albums, there might be 8 to 10 songs. So we'll probably see it in the fall sometime after the tour has already gotten underway. But you know, be on the lookout for that. Those are quality songs. And he's also releasing them in 2 different mixes. There's either the bright side mix or the dark side mix, depending on whether Mark Stent or Chad Blake did the mix on them. So anyway, something to look forward to. We also have the Nationals' new album coming in May. called The First Two Pages of Frankenstein. That features performances from Taylor Swift, Sufjan Stevens, and Phoebe Bridgers, all artists that they've been working with off and on. So that's probably pretty exciting, I would say. Boy Genius, if you follow Phoebe Bridgers, that new record is coming out April 31st, and featuring the trio of women there. Is it Lucy Dacus and Julian Baker, I believe. So anyway, that should be great. A first full album from them. There's a Neutral Milk Hotel box set coming out, which supposedly features everything that they've recorded in at least in a studio. I'm not sure what exactly all is in there because they only have 2-3 records that I know of, albums, so those will obviously be in there, but some other things too. Read up on it if you're interested. And then finally I should mention that, well, there are a couple things here. A bunch of tours that were scheduled are being announced. Bunch, you know, yesterday it was Duran Duran crashing their sites, and what I mean, I guess since Taylor Swift crashed the internet, now everyone's doing it. But Ministry, Skinny Puppy, and the Sisters of Mercy all scheduling American tours. And Sisters of Mercy haven't been here in 15 years. He said he's got 30 songs or more written, and they play a bunch of them during their shows. So you might hear a bunch of new songs if you go see that. I've already mentioned Gorilla's new album at the end of this month, so be on the lookout for Cracker Island. And Record Store Day, April 22nd this year. It's a week after Tax Day in America, so hopefully if you have some kind of windfall, you'll be able to spend some of it. I'm getting little inklings of things that sound very exciting. I think that people are going to be super happy generally with whatever is on the Record Store Day list this year. Hopefully they can get it all made so we don't have to do multiple Record Store Days like we have for the last 3 years. But, you know, never say never. There could be supply chain problems still, and we just don't know. But there's that. So be prepared. April 22nd. That's a big deal. And I think that was pretty much everything I wanted to say about that. All right. So thank you for joining me once again. Like I said, kind of a light new release week, but there are a bunch of things coming up and you really want to pay attention because I think things are going to start happening pretty quickly. We're getting towards the mid-end of winter already in this area, so that's when companies start gearing up more with their product. All right, take care. Thank you. Have a great weekend. See you next time. Peace.